Who Rachel Maddow and Tucker Carlson are? Chances are if you clicked on this, you probably do know. I recently posted a video about Tucker Carlson, who is a news personality on the Fox News channel in the United States of America, and I also mentioned how I appreciate him and Rachel Maddow, who I said was their antithesis or antithesis or antithesis, I still don't know how to say that word, of Tucker Carlson on MSNBC. And there's something that happened after it by me posting this video out there that got me to these two articles that I'm about to read for you. So let me just give you a quick background on what the video was. The video is actually there. It's called Don't Psyop Me. And I was just pretty much talking about how I think that Tucker might be a psyop. Because he said something in specific. What was the thing he said? It was the thing. He was talking about the people in the political left. He's talking about how it's kind of religious. I've talked about that before and things like this. And I think this might be actually why the person took it in this kind of way. Because I've been noticing that when I actually do make this connection about some of the behavior I see on the political left being similar to a religion, being very theological in a way, there seem to be some people who do claim to be on the political left who seem to have a certain reaction to it, a negative reaction to me making this connection, or they see me making these connections even when I'm not there, even though I completely think that actually is it makes more sense. But anyway, so I just believe that from what I've seen, Tucker and Rachel Maddow are both kind of true believers in what they're saying. It's not just going out there and reading a script. They really believe and care what they're saying, what they're doing, what they're presenting is going to make a better world. That's the feeling I get from them. Now, whether I agree or not with the actual things they say and the way they go about it is not an issue that I was actually bringing up. I was just talking about this is something that I think they're not disingenuous. It's not like you could just all of a sudden up Rachel Maddow's pay to add half the pay, even double it. I don't think you can double either of their pay and have them just switch positions because they're gaining a lot more profit from getting the actual feeling that they are actually helping the world. That is one thing that I said. I did not talk about these are top flight reporters. These are very research type of things. It's these are people who are on these channels and they present this thing and they sell this thing. So with Tucker, I was like, okay, is it a psyop? Because he said this line about how people on the political left are talking about how there is this inherited guilt. He's like, it's insane to think you can inherit guilt. Kids can inherit guilt and be born with this guilt. I'm like, wait, Tucker, aren't you Christian? Aren't you Christian? Isn't that a key part of the whole Christian, the whole Christian religion, the original sin? That's the reason Jesus Christ was brought to earth, or God became Jesus Christ and came to earth so he can forgive us for original sin. Some people still believe in original sin. So that was the thing that I was kind of just making the question and saying, is it a psyop? Is it possibly that they're doing it so they're trying to get people out? So that was the general thing. But coming from that, I posted that, and we got into some discussions with somebody about something about how crap Tucker Carlson is and all of this. And I was like, look, I'm not saying he's top flight news. I'm not saying he needs to win a Pulitzer. But what the person was trying to say was trying to discredit Tucker Carlson. And I was like, I don't care if you don't listen to Tucker Carlson. I don't care if you think the rest of the Fox News is better than Tucker Carlson. The video I was talking about was this specific thing, and then they ended up posting this thing. I was trying to ask them. I'm trying to find out where is this person coming from with this thing. But they ended up posting this one article that had a line that was rather similar to a previous line that I had heard of Rachel Maddow, which actually goes further into showing that connection where I'm like, these are kind of just people on opposite sides of some sort of magnet. So before I get into the actual reading, there's a recent thing that Donald Trump just posted this really sweet video. The video itself is really sweet. I like it. It's just these two kids, it's like two 5-year-olds or something, very young, running in the street, and then they hug, and then they run away. But this is an older meme. It's all surprising that it was funny, but Donald Trump posted one where it's an edited video. It's a meme where it's the CNN Chiron, a fake one, and then it's CNN covers it black baby runs away from racist white baby, and then what really happened. And then Twitter went on and put a manipulated media warning on it, and the reaction to it made it so much more funny to me. It made it exponentially more funny, and I'm also thinking, this is an old meme. How do people not know this? And then I had a separate video talking about the average views of average viewers. What does the regular media and regular people who are presenting content think the average views of average viewers are? What do they think is credible and what isn't? And maybe I'm the one overestimating people. Maybe I'm the one who's overestimating that people would look at that and really believe that was an actual CNN story and not understand that it was a parody. Because you look at some of the faiths and you look at some of the beliefs. So when somebody comes out and says, "Oh, Tucker's fake news," or they talk about CNN's fake news, or Rachel Maddow's fake news, or all these things, do people not understand the difference between opinions and people who are actually supporting? And that is some of it. That is some of it. That one person I mentioned before actually came out, and one of the main things they said was talking about how the other channels at least say they're covering things evenly, on, or Fox was the one who was saying that they don't, and that was some kind of point towards the other people. So as long as you say you're not biased, and even if you are biased, it's okay because you say you're not biased. I don't understand. But to me, when I see these things, I get this is an opinion. Then if somebody has an opinion, I'm like, well, that sounds kind of sketchy or questionable. Then I go look and try to see certain evidence. In some of these, somebody is just like, look, this is a video of something that's happened and gives their opinion. That thing actually happened. You can go and see if that thing has happened or not. Is he making that up? Is he lying about what was actually said? What is the These are things that can be done on your own. Now, I understand some people don't take the actual effort to do it, and that is part of why there's some question marks to this, but we live in an unprecedented time where you can go in. Okay, I'm going to get into the reading now. This is from Law and Crime, a Dan Abrams production. Fox News lawyer suggests no reasonable viewer would think Tucker Carlson is news. I'm going to just jump around a bit just to get the points, just to kind of indicate what I was talking about. So, an attorney representing Fox News reportedly made an interrogative statement in federal court that directly called into question the value of the number one news host in all of cable news. Would a reasonable viewer be coming here and thinking this is where I'm going to be hearing the news of the day? Fox News attorney Aaron Murphy asked U.S. District Judge Mary Kay Viscosil during a hearing conducted via telephone on Wednesday, according to Law 360 reporter Frank G. Runion's account of what she said. The underlying case is a defamation lawsuit filed by former Playboy model Karen McDougal, one of two women who claimed to have had past affairs with President Donald Trump, but who were paid off to keep their stories private during the 2016 presidential election. Two women approached Donald Trump and threatened to ruin his career and humiliate his family if he doesn't give them money, Tucker Carlson said during an episode of his Fox News show in December 2018. It's not a good Tucker voice, but whatever. Now that sounds like a classic case of extortion, yet for whatever reason, Trump caves into it, and he directs Michael Cohen to pay the ransom. Now, more than 2 years later, Trump is a felon for doing this? It doesn't seem to make any sense. McDougal sued in 2019, alleging Carlson defamed her by accusing herself and Stormy Daniels of committing the crime of extortion. Though the lawsuit is focused on the host's alleged defamation by slander, Fox News is named as the lone defendant in the case. Now, with some of these, they go to the employer, and also interesting thing with this is now when you're talking about certain platforms, like the reason Twitter is saying they can censor the president right now is because they're supposedly responsible somewhat of the people who are producing things. And it's different with Fox News because Fox News has Tucker Carlson hired. They pay his bills. So when you just have a platform, then you can be held accountable for it. It's probably going to net you more money to sue Fox News than it would be to sue Tucker Carlson as an individual. So that's also something that's done. But now when you talk about platform versus actually somebody who's like responsible for what the person actually said, when you start having a company, a platform like Twitter and other private companies start actually going in and managing the people who are saying the things on there, then they're kind of curating the material, then they get open to certain legalities. So there's things in there. So slander requires the publication of a false statement of fact. Slander per se is a variant of traditional slander, which makes a case against a defendant easier to prove if they accuse someone of false statement that falls under various categories recognized under the New York case law. Here, McDougal has claimed slander per se because of the nature of alleged crime. And then let's just jump down here. Let's see what was said here. Okay, so Fox News attempted to argue the opposite in court Wednesday, insisting that. So the main thing was here, like she was saying she was being accused of committing a crime. Then Fox News is arguing the opposite, saying, no, this is hyperbole. And here's the statement again. There's no statement that a reasonable viewer would understand in this context to state something provably false, Murphy added, explicitly invoking the word hyperbolic to make her sentence case. It's not the front page of the New York Times, Murphy continued. It's Tucker Carlson Tonight. It's a commentary show where you're going to hear an opinion and spirited debate. And this is exactly what it said. Then here they add, you see, MSNBC's lawyers argued along these same very lines when defending host Rachel Maddow against a defamation lawsuit that was filed by One American News Network. So this person had posted this in order to discredit Tucker Carlson. But I don't think they had actually listened to the video, because in the video I connect Tucker Carlson to Rachel Maddow. And let's jump to this other article, because there was a line in there when we were talking about the thing where I was like, wait, that's almost like verbatim what was said about Rachel Maddow. And here it's an article on IntelliHub. It's by Zero Hedge. I think Zero Hedge was one who was also recently involved in something with MSNBC going on saying, like, what are these people saying in the comment sections in Zero Hedge and The Federalist? They need to be checked. And then Google was like, okay, we're not going to censor you anymore. And then I'm not slandering anyone here. I think this is the thing that happened. And then that was changed. So that's the thing that's calling to, where is the responsibility? Is the responsibility in you as the individual going to watch it? Is it the responsibility as you as an individual going to the comment section? Is it the responsibility of you as an individual going and reading the president's tweets to actually go and confirm the information? Is it up to me to make sure that what people on CNN are saying is actually true? Or where is the actual thing? If you advertise something, if you say this is what we're doing here, then how much are you accountable for what is actually done there and the actions that go from it? And this is the interesting thing, because some people are saying, oh, Trump is inciting this, Trump is inciting that. Do you have to actually prove the direct evidence and connection between you saying Trump is doing that, and then if somebody looks back and says you're doing this by saying this about Trump, does that person have to prove? There's a smorgasbord and just mess here. It's a quagmire. Okay, Rachel Maddow argues her words are not facts in defense of to Owen lawsuit. It's supposed to be two ends in this, right? And this is the thing Mike Gundy, the football coach from Oklahoma State, was wearing or something. And then he had to apologize. He didn't have to apologize, but he apologized. I'm sure he wouldn't apologize, but hey, probably getting paid millions for that. He's got millions of reasons that I ain't got none to actually apologize for that. Okay, so back in September, we reported that TV network OWN had filed a lawsuit against Rachel Maddow for the time the host had said that OWN really, literally is paid Russian propaganda. Now, whenever someone says literally in the United States of America, it seems like I have a different video called, like, they literally mean figuratively. Like, almost every time an American in general says literally when they're talking just in, I guess, regular parlance, this irregular everyday talk, unless they're actually writing some sort of research paper that they've gone back and studied, expect every time they say literally, it's better, it's more likely that they mean figuratively. Okay, now Maddow finds herself having to come up with defense for her statement in court, and she also apparently hired Lionel Lutz as a legal advisor. According to Culture, there's 3 T's there, Culture, her lawyers argued in a recent motion that the liberal host was clearly offering up her own unique expression of her views to capture what she saw as the ridiculous nature of the undisputed facts. Her comment, therefore, is a quintessential statement of rhetorical hyperbole, I keep having struggles with that word, of rhetorical hyperbole, incapable of being proved true or false. And so, oh, it's capable of being proved false, all right. Maddow had previously claimed on air about one of Owen's reporters. In this case, the most obsequiously pro-Trump right-wing news outlet in America is really literally paid propaganda, and added, their on-air politics reporter, Christian Rouse, is paid by the Russian government to produce propaganda for that government. So the testimony of UC Santa Barbara linguistics professor Stefan Thomas Grice, however, stands at odds with Maddow's defense. Grice says, it is very unlikely that an average or reasonable ordinary viewer would consider the sentence in question to be a statement of opinion. Grice continues, I am the second most widely cited cognitive linguist and 6th most widely cited living corpus linguist. The field of cognitive linguistics draws both from linguistics and psychology and studies how language interacts with cognition. And this is where I think I'm going to leave off. You can find these articles, you can check it out. You see, Maddow said, okay, yeah, so here it's again. Comcast executive Maddow opened up with a show, The Daily Beast, claimed that own awareness. It's the same thing. It said it again. In this case, most particularly, that's the same line, right? Yeah, that's the same line. So they're repeating that again. So, except Maddow still upset with spending 3 years trying to promulgate. So yeah, the Russian hoax, all that stuff. Are we supposed to? Do we have to hold them responsible? Are they supposed? Are they responsible for saying the Russia thing over and over again? All the pundits and people like that who go on, they're giving their opinions and saying, "I'm not talking about fact, and I'm not swearing this in front of a court of law." Like, what is the situation with this? And this is just the general question for you out there. If you listen to either any of these mainstream media or just other sources, when do you realize? Like, I see people doing fact checks on parody sites like Babylon Bee. I saw somebody some friends I'm with, who posted something from the Reductress, which is a great website, by the way. You should check out the Reductress. It's a site. To me, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, that's clearly something like, okay, yeah. I was like, that is clearly something that is a parody site. It's a great parody site done from like kind of the point of view of a progressive, what's it called, progressive intersectional feminist. Somebody posted this article right here, and someone's like, oh, I know some of the people in the actual thing, people who live in New York, and like, oh, they're really wealthy person. I'm like, oh no, that's clearly, to me, it seemed like it was clearly a fake thing. They're talking about, okay, for Juneteenth, Venmoing all your black friends. I'm like, yeah, it's a joke. It's a joke site. But people, it's hard to tell these days. It's like things are happening so crazy that the things that you think something's a joke, you think you make a meme of something, it's actually existing somewhere else. And that's happened to me before. I've made a meme, made a post or something, and like, that's actually something that's happening. So how do you actually tell? Who is responsible for actually telling? Do you think most of the people who watch Tucker Carlson think it's actually just news in the most straightforward sense of reporting? Do you think that's the same thing with Rachel Maddow? Do you think they should be held accountable for the things that they said there? Do you think Tucker was actually accusing her directly? What do you think the legalities of this? What do you think your personal things are? Are there certain things that you used to think were completely true? The Daily Show, something like that. The Daily Show has its own news thing. I used to be one of those people who used to be like, oh, the real news is fake. I get my news from the Daily Show back when Jon Stewart was on, and tried watching it when they switched out to Jon Stewart. Then I started to realize, like, okay, I get they're putting some spin on it, and they're still presenting actual stories. And then they put some spin on it to make it kind of funny. But the actual content they're based on is still actually the content. Then you can go out and find more information. You still get somewhat informed of the things that are happening. Like, oh, this place was hit with this natural disaster. And then this politician did this goofy thing about it. Ha 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 ha. You still get the actual information about the natural disaster, but everything else is actually off. And then with the actual platforms, you go to the History Channel, not everything on the History Channel is just outright people studying history. Some of the things are kind of just presentations and publications and kind of, what's it called? Personal interest, not people interest. There's other things on the History Channel besides just history. There's reality TV, there's all kinds of things like that. So that's the same thing with these news channels, with these news networks. I recognize these are people selling a product. They're trying to get you to be there for the advertising dollars and their whole business plan and their whole system of making money. So they're going to actually do other things and actually have target audiences and target demographics. But how responsible do you think they are? And what is your judgment of these platforms on understanding their actual truth value / news value? That's it for now. Thank you for listening. It's been a bit of it's been a bit scattered, but hopefully you got something out of this. Just let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe. Links below to a merchandise store in the low bar. And until next time, goodbye.